You're not part of my life. You are the reason for it. You're the first breath I take when I wake and the last thought before I sleep. You're the reason I smile without knowing why. The reason the days make sense even when nothing else does. Before you, I lived in pieces, surviving, not truly feeling. But then you arrived like a quiet light and everything changed. You didn't just become part of my story. You became the entire reason I started writing one again. I see the world differently through you. Softer, slower, more beautiful. Every small moment, the morning sun, a quiet breeze, a heartbeat, now holds meaning because you're in it. Because you've touched every part of me with your presence without even trying. You are not something that happened along the way. You are the path. You are the heartbeat beneath all I've built. And if I could strip everything away, the noise, the fear, the doubt, all that would remain is this truth. I live because I love you, and that love carries everything. You gave me something no one else ever did, a reason to keep trying when I wanted to give up, a reason to believe in myself when I couldn't see anything worth saving. You didn't come with promises. You didn't arrive with fireworks. You simply stayed. With quiet hands and open eyes, you showed me what it meant to be seen, truly seen. And in your gaze, I found someone I hadn't met before. Me. The me who is strong. The me who is soft. The me who is worth loving. And in that reflection, I began to understand what it means to be alive. Not just to breathe, but to feel, to hope, to care, to break and still be held. You did that. You made existing feel like living. And now every time I laugh, every time I dare to dream, it's because of the ground you built beneath me. You are not an extra piece of my journey. You are the foundation of it. And everything I am now, every heartbeat is because of you. There are moments I catch myself watching you do the simplest things, tying your shoes, sipping tea, humming to a song, and I feel this overwhelming wave in my chest. Not just love, but awe. Because you don't even realize the magic you bring into every second. You don't see how your presence lights up spaces that were once dull. You don't notice how your voice changes the energy in a room, how your laugh becomes a rhythm the world dances to. But I notice, I always do. And it's in those quiet moments that I realize how deeply you've rooted into my existence. You're not something I want. You're someone I can't imagine living without. The idea of a life without you feels like silence without breath. Possible, maybe, but meaningless. You are the music in my story, the pulse in my veins. You don't just belong in my life. You are the reason it moves, the reason it grows, the reason it still hopes. Without you, everything would dim. With you, everything shines. I don't remember the exact moment it happened. When loving you became as natural as breathing. Maybe it was always there, waiting. Maybe my soul recognized yours long before we ever met. All I know is that now, you live in every part of me. In the way I speak, in the way I see the world, in the way I dream. You are not a chapter. You're the whole story. I don't need maps or plans when I have you. Because you are my direction, my purpose, my why. When the world confuses me, when I lose my way, it's your love that brings me back. That centers me. You don't ask to be worshipped. But how can I not revere someone who became my reason for everything? The reason I write, the reason I trust, the reason I believe again. You didn't have to change who I was. You reminded me of who I could be. And now everything good in me points back to you. Not because you made me, but because you reminded me how to live. People talk about love as something that adds to life, a beautiful part of the whole. But with you, it's different. You don't just add joy or comfort or meaning. You are the meaning. Without you, I'd still be breathing, still moving, still existing. But I wouldn't be living. You brought color into a world I didn't even know was gray. You made me feel things I thought only existed in books and dreams. Not because you tried to impress me, but because you loved me without condition. And that kind of love, that real raw, unwavering love, became the reason I started to believe in everything again. You didn't rescue me. You didn't fix me. You simply stood beside me. And in that quiet, steady presence, I found everything I needed. I don't say this lightly. You are the reason for my joy, my strength, my peace. You're not a part of my life. You are its center, its pulse, its purpose. And I will never stop being grateful for the day you became my reason. I used to wonder what people meant when they said someone completes them. I don't believe I was ever incomplete, but I do believe that you gave my life a rhythm, a breath, a meaning that wasn't there before. like music waiting for words, like a sky waiting for stars. You didn't change who I am. You helped me rise into who I've always been. You see me with such clarity, such gentleness, that even my scars soften under your gaze. And in that gaze, I've learned to love myself too. That's what you've done. Not just loved me, but taught me how to live. And if tomorrow I lost everything, the plans, the dreams, the structures we built, I'd still feel rich. Because I had this. I had you. And even one moment of that kind of love is more than most get in a lifetime. But we have more than a moment. We have a reason, a purpose, a heartbeat that echoes between us. One I'll carry forever, because you are the rhythm of my life. You are not just a reason I keep going. You are the reason I know why I'm going. Every step I take is toward a future that holds you in it. I don't want castles or grand stages. I want quiet mornings with your hand in mine. I want the simple kind of forever, the kind built in whispers and glances. And the way your name feels like a poem in my mouth. Life can be wild, unpredictable, unfair. But with you, it's also beautiful, manageable, worth it. You are not a dream. You're the anchor that holds me when the world becomes too much. The reason I look up, even when the sky is dark. The reason I try again, even when I'm tired. You give me something to believe in. Not because life is perfect, but because love is powerful. Because you are powerful. Not in how loudly you move, but in how deeply you stay. And that staying, that choosing, that loving, it's what my life revolves around now. It's what it lives for. Sometimes I think about the future, where we'll be, who we'll become, and all I see is you. Not because I'm scared to live without you, but because I don't want to. Because if this life is a story, I want every chapter to hold your name. Every lesson, every triumph, every sorrow, I want to share them with you. You are not a side note or a subplot. You are the reason I turn the page, the reason I care how the story unfolds. And even in the uncertainty, even in the unknown, I find peace. Because you are constant, steady, my North Star in a sky that keeps spinning. I never thought I'd find someone who made everything else feel like background noise. But then you walked in, not loudly, not demanding, just completely. And from that moment, everything I was shifted. You became the axis. And now, when people ask what changed my life, I don't say love, I say your name. Because you didn't just change my life. You gave it meaning. You love me in ways I never imagined possible. Not with grand gestures or dramatic words, but with presence. With honesty. With consistency. You show up. You stay. You see me not as a project, not as a poem, but as a person. And in doing so, you've made this life more than just something to get through. You've made it something to hold on to cherish. You are the meaning behind my smile, the warmth in my quiet moments. I live more gently because of you, more bravely, more truthfully. And if I had to name the single reason I've grown into who I am now, it's you. Your belief in me, your love, wrapped around every broken edge, softening me, healing me. You didn't just become a chapter in my life. You became the heartbeat behind it, the reason the pages kept turning, the reason I kept writing. So I'll keep living this story, for you, with you, because of you. Because you are not part of my life. You are the reason for it and always will be. If the world ends tomorrow, if time collapses and the stars fall from the sky, I won't regret a single breath because I spent it loving you. You are not something I stumbled upon by accident. You are the answer to a silent prayer I didn't even know I was whispering. The reason I survived the storms, the reason I kept holding on when it would have been easier to let go. You brought me back to myself. You reminded me that love is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And your love in particular is the reason I believe in everything now. Not just in happiness or healing, but in worth, in us. So no matter what comes next, no matter how much the world spins or shifts, I will hold on to this truth. My life began the day you stepped into it. And everything since has been a reflection of that moment. You're not part of my life. You are the reason it exists at all. The reason I breathe, I dream, I feel, I love. You are the reason I live.